Welcome back to the third and final segment of a special show today. The show we've been talking about the Abdullah Quilliam Mosque in Liverpool, the very first mosque of the UK. This is our sort of induction, orientation. Looking forward to the upcoming programme, Beauty of Your Mosque, and we'll be looking at the mosques across the UK, but no doubt the first mosque of the UK is the one that we're looking to air first. Today in my show, Community Matters, I've been welcomed by these guests here from Liverpool. We've just been talking about the history of the mosque, the history of the person himself, Abdullah Quilliam. And just before we went on a break, Chairman, you were telling us about Abdullah Quilliam himself and sort of his mission towards this. If we could just quickly sum up on that. Where did this history really finish for you?
Well, Abdullah Quilliam, because of the Islamophobia and the problems that I was mentioning earlier, with some of the oppositions he was facing here, he had to leave this country and had to leave quite suddenly. Was
he ever attempted to be charged with treason, shall I ask?
He was in the process of being charged that, because he opposed the British foreign policy at that time.
Right.
He was a great friend of the Sultan of Turkey, Sultan Abdul Hamid, the Ottoman Emperor. So he decided that it was a point that he should leave. So he left all of a sudden. Now, a lot of history of Abdullah Quilliam is covered up in this book, Abdullah Quilliam, Islam in Victorian Britain. And if you read through that, that's available in the bookshops and on the web. We'll give you more details. Some of the information there are maybe questionable because we're researching and finding new facts all the time. But do look through them and it'll give you insight. More information is available on our web, abdullahquilliam.org. That's another source where you can get some information. And
this is really giving the full history of Abdullah Quilliam himself and that settlement, isn't it?
That's right.
Yeah. Because I'm probably going to come over to you, Momin, because obviously, as Chairman has mentioned, that Abdullah Quilliam then went missing because of all the issues with the government, and he returned. Whether his return or everything, the allegations are across the building. However, you guys went out there back in '99, set up the Abdullah Quilliam Society, got went on this mission to restore the masjid, and alhamdulillah, 2014.
That's right, absolutely. With a great struggle, and a lot of credit goes to our friend Dr. Hamid and Mr. Khan for making the opening happen, because we wanted to open in that Ramadan, but more specifically, the chairman, the founding chairman, who's the current chair, talked about, Dr. Ali, was coming up to 90 years old. And he would cry his eyes out and say, Momin Khan, before I close my eye, can I see this opening of this building? That was his last wish, basically. And thanks to the team, that we really worked hard, and we opened it on June 27th of June 2014, one day before the first of Ramadan. And believe it or not, he opened it, and you will see some of the photographs and the videos on the website. He opened. We brought him from home in a wheelchair. He was still in a very able mind and was very pleased with it, but cried all the way through the program. Now, and 3 days after, he goes into a coma. Can you imagine that? And then 7 days later, he sadly passes away.
And this is one of your co-founders.
This is one of our founding chairmen. So he was one of the founding chairmen, and Mr. Khan is also now the current chairman, also a founder, if you like. And his first janazah was in this masjid after 106 years of closure. Can you imagine the history? And that day we opened it, it was absolutely unbelievable. You needed to be there to witness the happiness, the historic moment of opening England's first mosque after 106 years of closure. And on his funeral, we had the whole, the mainstream councillors, Lord Lieutenants and Lord Mayors, and everybody's coming and paying tribute to him. So his first one is the founding chairman. Now, I would also say that the building, we've only actually opened the first part of the building, which is the number 8, the masjid itself, and then we've renovated the rest of the building, and we're currently doing that. And Dr. Hamid will talk, or Mr. Khan will talk more about that.
I think I'm going to come to Mr. Khan back, because he gave it away that he's an architect by trade, and he's gone across the African continent doing architecture. So it must have been a struggle for this relic of a building to bring it back up to modern standards, and in addition dealing with the restrictions that you have of a listed building?
Yes, that was really quite a big problem, especially we don't have the resources. And fortunately, because I was in architectural practice, still am, that which focused on it, we did a lot of work trying to do the initial feasibility studies, etc., which helped us to secure the building. The roof was gone, the timber was all dry rotted, all the windows are sliding sashes, and now we are having to do plaster with lime plaster. If some of you, if you know about building trade, that's a very slow and long process. But we have had to recreate them. We have to recreate the covings that were lost due to the damages. And we are trying to do the best we can, but at the same time trying to meet the needs of the current groups of people who are coming. Many of them are Muslims, many of them are non-Muslims even. And we have strong relationships with other faiths. The bishop, the former bishop of Liverpool, was a patron of our mosque, which is very unusual. The Duchy of Lancaster made directed contributions towards this mosque, which is quite something.
But you still kept the mosque's sort of contemporary look, haven't you? I mean,
that's right,
it still has that original feel and original structural look, doesn't it?
And unfortunately, it was all cased into concrete. There were quite thick concrete bomb-proof shelter made inside the mosque, so the original fixtures were all lost. So what we are trying to do is recreate it from whatever information we have. The windows, we have reopened it. The mihrab, we are still in the process of deciding to do that. I mean, we're probably talking to Muslims in other countries to help us develop that. We're looking for help from everybody, really, because it's a small group of people and we have a big task to do. So we invite everybody who comes here to see how they can contribute and help us complete this job.
No, and I can only echo that. I think listening to the beauty of this, I mean, the first masjid, why wouldn't you want to be part of this? Why not get involved, whichever way it is? In fact, why don't we look at we've got 2 minutes left of this program. Why don't we look at the future? I'm going to quickly ask you to wrap up the future, Hamid Bhai. I mean, what are people going to be looking forward to? What can they actually put their resources towards to help you guys?
Fantastic. I think this is a great program, and to make everyone aware that Islam started here, and what Abdullah Quilliam did was he set up a building which was not only a mosque, because he wanted the whole world to know about Islam, but also he wanted to serve humanity. So in this building we had a boarding school, we had a mosque, we had a printing press which printed England's first Muslim newspaper, and also he had debating, he had a school, he had so many things going on. He started the very first orphanage, perhaps the very first orphanage in the Victorian times. Now, if we take all that into perspective, he devised, or he developed a very modern version of British Islam that we should adhere to, and this is something we should treasure, and we need people to come and see this place. This is a fantastic piece of history. We'll have a museum there. We have the original replicas of the kitchens that were used, the rooms that were used, so everyone needs to come and visit.
You've heard it. I mean, that's the Abdullah Quilliam Mosque. So you've just heard where the first where Islam first landed in this country. You just heard who the first Islamic convert was. You've just heard where Islamophobia first came. Did you guys know Islamophobia is 130 years old? Well, you've just had all of that, and I think these guys, mashallah, I mean, they're doing wonderful work. I'd like to thank everybody here so for you brothers coming along from the Abdullah Quilliam Society. As usual, our correspondent from Liverpool, thank you to you as well. I think you've seen this, seen what these guys have got to say about the masjid. It is the first piece of Islam, and we need to do as a Muslim community across the UK, across Europe. I think we should do our part together to help restore this mosque and bring it back, and no doubt a museum, why not? Let our youngsters know about Islam and how it landed in this country. That's all I've got time for. I need to thank everybody that's got involved in this. Inshallah, look forward to the Beauty of Your Mosque program that will be coming up. We might be having some of it during Ramadan. If not after Ramadan, we're going to have a big set of program about mosques across the UK. So inshallah, we'll be doing that. I thank you for joining us. Let's all make our du'as and prayers that that Abdullah Quilliam Mosque moves forward. Until next time, inshallah, we'll see you soon. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.